fire lately. Just everything really rolling his way.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about it, is when you see players go on these big hot streaks, they are certainly playing very good.
Yeah.
But they're also getting just the right timings on these little things that make huge differences. I mean, closing out the game a turn earlier there, it may not have any difference on the outcome of that game, even if it's just a few percentage points, though. But those few percentages are what you can thrive on in tournaments like this.
Yeah, very true. And, that's a really solid win for Chakki early on, even though with the more aggressive Shaman, a lot of times you can say, well, if you get a good start, then you can just roll over a Freeze Mage. But that's a matchup that's not easy in any regard. And as you mentioned earlier, you talked about sort of the psychological aspect of winning that first game, not only in a series, but as you go into a tournament. Game one of day one really sort of just sets the pace. And we'll see if Chakki can keep that going. He's going to throw out the Druid here. And looking at these cards, it could be a few things, but I'm leaning towards Cthulhu Druid with the Nourish.
Yeah, this is definitely Cthulhu Druid. I know that the token Yogg-Saron versions do not run Druid of the Claw. There's no room for it. They have to just run lots of little tiny cards to try to build lots of big combos together, and Druid of the Claw just doesn't fit the bill for that one. So when he's got 2 Druid of the Claws in the build, it is almost 100% going to be Cthulhu Druid. And there's the Twin Emperor to let us know that. And Harrison Jones in here, I mean, this may just kind of be the standard build. I know this deck became very tight after Silent Storm put up a #1 finish with it. And since then, players have done very little tinkering with that shell to get it built. And we'll see how Terrence wants to tackle this. Is just going to open up with hero powers here, so delaying the Loot Hoarder for a couple turns. And that's going to give Chakki some time to find something. And Wild Growth, we talk about it again, just that perfect timing.
Terrence is just starting, like, his face after the Doomhammer draw was just like, I expect that. Okay. Doomhammer, to Shaman, I understand. But he's starting to, his face starts to get closer to his monitor. His palm on his face starts to get, closer to his eyes. He's forming a face palm right now, whether he is doing it consciously or not. And, that's just sort of how the game goes sometimes. Chakki's just getting what he needs, and Terrence is going to have a tough time fighting back. This is a decent matchup for Freeze Mage. I mean, classically, Ramp Druid has struggled against Freeze Mage because they don't run damage from hand. But Cthulhu can really change that. And just having bigger threats earlier can change that as well.
Yeah, like the Harrison Jones here from Chakki as well, just to get some sort of pressure on the board. It will kind of probe for Frostbolt or Fireball. And when that doesn't happen, you get a very good idea of where your hand is going. And so Swipe going to clean up these Loot Hoarders and then just keep the pressure on. I think Chakki's fairly confident that this Harrison Jones wasn't going to get checked unless Terrence actually drew an answer to it. But with 3 card draws, very likely to do so. But that's going to open up Chakki's hand. He's got so much in hand to work with. It's going to be a matter of, is this enough to keep enough pressure on Terrence that it's kind of like a repeat of last game? He has to expend too many resources to get it done.
Yeah, and at the moment he hasn't had any of those Cthulhu buffers. So his twin imps are not activated. Cloxy Amberweaver, which is usually a one of in the more common Cthulhu Druid lists, doesn't have an activator. It's not as big of a deal for Druid as it is for other classes that run Cthulhu, like Warrior, which has to use it to activate the Ancient Shield Bearers, or even Priest, which has to use it to activate the card that I don't know the name of because nobody plays Cthulhu Priest. Cult something, who knows?
Hooded Acolyte?
Hooded Acolyte. No, it's not even Hooded Acolyte. Is it Hooded Acolyte?
You talking about the heal one or the
heal one? Yeah.
The heal 10?
Heal 10, the Ancient Shield Bearer equivalent.
Yeah, I definitely don't know what that one is, but this is a great turn for Chakki here. Able to clean up the Emperor Thorson, get the double effect from that Fandral on Wrath and on Druid of the Claw. This is a lot of pressure coming out. And Terrence not answering that Fandral, he's going to have to respect it in some regard. I mean, I'd be a little bit surprised to not see Fandral bite the dust this turn.
Yeah.
And there it is. And so Chakki having Bran and Cthulhu's Chosen to activate that Twin Emperor in the next 2 turns. This is some pretty significant damage.
Twilight Darkmender. Just came to my head. I didn't mute my mic and Google it. But yeah.
Me either. Yeah, Twilight Darkmender. That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, we're both 100% correct. Lore masters here.
And I just Googled it.
Yeah, Vandal Staghelm, even though it doesn't have as many activators in this deck, there's not too many choose ones. The ones that there are pretty high impact. One being, of course, Druid of the Claw, which we see. Another one being Living Roots, which is just more of an annoyance than anything else. And Nourish, especially early on in the game, can be huge because you draw 3 cards and gain those mana crystals, which can be absurd. So one of the biggest threats that Druid has to offer at the moment.
Plus, combined with Wrath, it's like a better Azure Drake with that one in particular.
4 damage Wrath that draws a card. Yes, please.
Yep, Terrence is going to go. Alex draws it to the dome. Says, you know what, Chakki, if you got the damage, go ahead and take it. And Chakki doesn't have the damage, but what he does have is Emperor and Bran, Twin Emperor and Bran. And so how does he want to handle this situation? I mean, this is 3 4/6s being made from this card.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Just go for it and hope you find enough damage before time runs out. The trade here actually isn't bad. But I just don't feel like there's much of a reason to because of the taunt wall that you have. That Alexstrasza is not getting through anytime soon.
Yeah, that's the Great Wall of Cthulhu right there. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 damage available for Terrence's turn. But he's going to be relegated to digging for answers. I mean, he has to stop this incoming damage.
Yeah. Because he's just like a swipe and a Living Roots away from losing the game.
Yeah, I mean, he actually doesn't have a way to stop that right now. So his question is going to be, what's my best chance to win in the face of Chakki just having minions in hand? And Chakki already has Living Roots, but he's used a swipe at this point. Second Druid of the Claw would be an out as well. And he's going to have 2 draws for it because of that Wild Growth.
Yeah. Terrence King here can go for something like Frostnova Doomsayer plus Frostbolt Iceland's Face. He freezes the board, he gets rid of the board, and he also freezes the face. He also puts on damage, which means he's like a damage out away, whether it be second Fireball, the Whirling Torch is in his deck, something along those lines.
Now, he's going to go for Frostbolt Icelands, but I imagine he's going to ping here instead.
Yeah,
yep.
That's... You don't really worry about the board now because you're sort of dead in a few turns anyway, like with your opponent having so many outs, and you sort of need to reduce the clock by 1.
Dark Arakoa is not it. This is going to be Wild Growth for the lead here. And Chakki, this needs a huge draw. I think if he's going to close this game right now, this is a window of opportunity. And Twilight Elder is not going to be any help. So this is probably Dark Arakoa, Hero Power, and go.
Do you even Dark Arakoa? Because you want to make room for that second Druid of the Claw.
Oh, you're right. That's a really good point. Dark Arakoa is actually a kind of a liability at this point. Yeah, you're right. You don't play anything. That's a very good catch. Blood Mage, 7, 8 damage available for Terrence. He can dig for that extra damage here. That's exactly what he's going to do.
Still not there yet. Oh, well, Ice Block.
Ice Block.
That gives him another turn, which is just as important, I think.
Well, not quite yet. I mean,
I guess not as important as winning, but
given what happened last turn, Blizzard, I think, is just as effective as Ice Block here. And so with that Blood Mage draw, I mean, he's right on the cusp of damage here. How does he want to play this? Because if he plays the Blizzard, I don't know if he can actually add Blood Mage to the board here, but he wants to get the extra draw. But then Chakki's going to Hero Power and take himself to 11. So if the Blood Mage actually dies somehow on this board, you don't get the damage from it, so you have to draw a bigger damage spell instead. Whew. This is a weird spot.
Yeah. I think I just like the ping. Oh no, it's so hard. Yeah, I think the ping, because risking your Blood Mage dying and losing that damage, even though you get the extra draw, like you would need
more. Gets drawn, and that's with a brand. Chakki's gonna lock this game up. 20 damage. He bleeds for Cthulhu. A 2-0 lead for Chakki here. Wow, what a huge draw that one was. I mean, granted, Druid of the Claw is still there. A swipe is still there. You can Raven Idol into some of the discovers. I mean, we're looking at Bite, Swipe, or Druid of the Claw could potentially be outs there if he chooses. Let's say choose to go for Minion for some reason. Starfire would have been an out on the Raven Idol. So quite a few draws that actually make a big impact there. But I'd say it's probably close to about 25% of the cards left in Chakki's deck could have ended the game that turn.
I was about to say, wow, Cthulhu's not even a guaranteed lethal. I forgot that the brand was on the board, and Chakki even had like Innervate Living Roots if he needed the extra damage. which would if Brand wasn't on the board. So big convoluted way to say forgot that Brand was there. But Chakki's got a 3 or a 2 game lead now, and just